Hi everyone. Let's see. So I have to say, first of all, I'm super excited to be here. I have started when I started back in 2009 at Colossal Order, I had absolutely no game industry background. And I just went to the people who actually made the games, and I was talking to all the Finnish big studios, Remedy, Housemarque, Red Lynx, Frozen Byte, and I really just tried to take as much advice from those guys as possible. I was asking them about business side, working with a publisher, working with investors, how to make the game better. I showed them our original design of our first game, and I was asking, what do you think about this? And I got so much good advice. And I'm going to say this now at the very beginning. All the developers there, ask as many questions as you need to. Go to the people and try to get the best advice as you can. And then when you hear the advice, you don't have to always take it literally. What you have to think about is, how does this apply to my situation, to my company? And that is something that, at least in the Nordic countries, what I have noticed is that all of us are very open. We want to tell, how did we make successful games? Where did we fail? Because we can't always be successful, but we can share the stories behind all of these games, and hopefully you can learn something from it. City Skylines. I'm still overwhelmed by the success of this game. We are at Colossal Order. We are 13 people, and it's just really overwhelming that we have actually made a game that has sold over 1 million copies, and it was released March 10th. So I was asked to speak here, and it was like, how did you do it? How did small team from Finland actually achieve something like this? To be honest, I am not sure if I can give you like a recipe that this is how you make a successful PC game, and it doesn't work like that. But what I can do is I can share something about the story, give you some advice that you can then decide if it applies to you or not. So we need to understand first, what is Colossal Order? What do we do? So back in 2009, we started the company, and the guys had been working in the mobile industry. And they just really wanted to do something grand and big. And we started to think, what kind of games what kind of genre can we compete in? And what do we love to do? And we absolutely, I actually, even though I didn't have any game industry background, I used to play Theme Park when I was a kid. And it kind of fit perfectly, because the other team members as well had were fond of the simulation genre. And it was really something that we felt that is something that brings us together as a team, and this is something we want to do for the PC platform. And we started working on mass transit simulator Cities in Motion back in 2009. And it was just, even at that point, we were thinking about, what will we do in the future? All of us actually wanted to make a city builder. It's really something that we felt that it's the kind of holy grail of all simulation games. And that was something we wanted to achieve. But being 5 people, just started, we knew that we couldn't pull it off. So we decided to go more niche. We made Cities in Motion, and Cities in Motion 2, sequel to it. The first one was something that already at that point we had been pitching a city builder to our publisher Paradox that we worked with in the 2 previous titles as well. And I think Fred, the CEO of Paradox, was probably like completely over it already at some point. It was like, yeah, stop bugging me about this. It's not the right time to make a city builder. And I was just like, it is. We can totally do it. Like, we're ready for it. And then comes the announcement of SimCity. And we were pretty much sure that, okay, if it wasn't the time to do it before, it's not going to be after. I was luckily wrong about that. So it was really something that we finally got the opportunity to make our dream project, City Skylines. And it's really just that classic good old city builder. That was exactly what we wanted to do. We wanted to bring that kind of 90s, early 2000s gameplay, which was so familiar to us from our childhood or teenage years. And what is it that makes City Skylines now somewhat different from the games that were made in the 90s? And what is it? It's really kind of old school games, because we did this already with Cities in Motion. We were thinking about Transport Tycoon, we wanted to bring it to modern day. We were thinking about those classic city builders. We wanted to take it and bring it to the modern day. There are a couple of features that are really something that people haven't seen before. This is not important to my topic today. What is important is to understand how did we get there. So it's really, and this has popped up today already, knowing your audience. This is the key to any successful game. What we wanted to achieve was to give the players the control they needed and wanted in their game. Because building a city, it's really just something that you want to be the master of it. It is really your world, your playground. You don't want to play a multiplayer city builder with some other people coming to your city and messing it up, right? You just really want to tinker all of those little details there, really just put all the effort in your own city. So it was all about focusing on the important things. And for us, those were the big maps that we have in City Skylines, as well as the player control. And we have been using Unity engine for our games with Cities in Motion 2 and now with City Skylines. And what we noticed with modding was something that with Cities in Motion, the first one, it was done with an in-house tech. So, and we were young and we were foolish and we didn't realize that of course the players will go and crack the game and then they will mod it and make something completely crazy and amazing with that. And we had no intention to support modding in any way, but we didn't realize to prevent it either, which was a good thing. And with Cities in Motion 2, because we started using Unity, it's much more closed engine. And I have to say we failed in the modding support with Cities in Motion 2. But with City Skylines, we really took to our hearts that we want to make it possible for people to be able to mod the game, make something of their own there. Just like they're creating their own cities, that they could also import their own models and just take control of the entire experience with this game. And we actually did work on the modding tools pretty much the same amount of time as we did on the game itself, and it has totally paid off. Currently we have over 30,000 items on Steam Workshop. People seem to love it, and what is really important is that it has only made our communication with the community stronger. And this is something that we share with our publisher Paradox. We want to be communicating with our players, we want to make sure that they are heard of. And then we get to Paradox. Working with the publisher is something that was very important to us from the beginning, because we didn't have the marketing resources, we didn't have the possibility to go self-publishing. So what is very important with your game, to make sure that somebody knows how to sell it. Because you can make a super quality product, but if you don't have the skills to sell it, it's not gonna get the visibility it needs or deserves. So this is where a publisher comes in our case, mostly, is that the publisher fills in where we lack the resources, as well as they have the skill and the infrastructure to make the best out of the sales and distribution and the marketing of our game. We are the professionals making the game, they are the professionals selling it. And this is something that I have found that it's extremely good marriage between, at least between Colossal Order and Paradox Interactive. It is something that we felt when we started working with them, that we are at the same wavelength. We understand our games, we understand what we want to achieve. And this is really important. Not only do you need to communicate with your audience, with your players, you also have to communicate with your partners. Was this investors or a publisher? And for City Skylines, what we found is that I think big part of the success was not only that we actually made a fantastic game, but also the visibility and the timing of it all was really crucial for the success of the game. And it is something that us Finns, because we really love to kind of execute and be on point, and Swedes are good at talking, so it's really just a very good partnership there. And there is really, when you're making a game, you just really have to decide where you want to focus. This is very important. I had a discussion with our design team and with our programmers early on in the project. And designers had these grand ideas. They wanted a lot of things in the game. And the programmer, we had said that I can really do anything, but I can't do everything. And this is something that a wise man has said, and it is really something that as a developer you have to really take to heart. Focus on what you're good at, make it great. And I was actually, with the earlier presentation by David Gardner, he was talking about the principles that they have at Supercell. And that could have been a list from Colossal Order. And it is really something that you should take to heart. What do we see with the future now for us? I don't like to talk about future trends that much, because we really do like things really old school way. We take inspiration from the 90s classics, we modernize it, we make a game out of that, and then we work with a publisher in a very, very traditional way. Now with City Skylines, we're listening to the community, their feedback, their requests, and we're going to build on top of that. And we're going to be working on larger expansions and just bringing more content and features to the game, because we were so focused earlier that we didn't make everything at once. But we can, with the opportunities nowadays, we can actually expand the game later on. And I feel that PC gaming is extremely strong. And I feel that indies are actually moving towards that, because the mobile market is very, very crowded. I've heard a couple of people say that, oh, just, go to Steam, it's super easy. It's not really that easy, but it is maybe more possible than some other markets currently. And it's also about thinking what genre you want to be in, what is it that you think actually you are passionate about, and what the audience might want. And I put the revenge of the publisher. This is something that with nowadays market, when we have so many teams making great games, how do you get the visibility? And back in 2009, when we started with Colossal Order, self-publishing was it really wasn't possible for us. Maybe if we had started a couple of years later, it might have been more so, and we might have gone with that option. But I feel that for you to be able to actually separate from the market, make sure your game gets the visibility it needs, you might want to consider, if it's not working with a publisher, get somebody to handle the marketing side. So this is about how to sell your game. And it's really exciting time for young startups. There's opportunities, there's always been opportunities, but now I feel that there's so much knowledge, these great events, people sharing their thoughts. It's a really good time to be a startup. And especially in the Nordic region, when we have these great successes, especially Rovio and Supercell, those guys have actually made the way for us smaller studios to get the attention we deserve. And this is something that you should absolutely take advantage of. And finally, I want to show you a picture of the 13-member team we have at Colossal Order, because this is exactly, these guys made the game, these guys deserve all the success, and just remember, as we did it, you can as well. So, thank you. So if you have any questions, do we have a couple of minutes, or 1 minute for questions? Yeah, okay. And if you don't have any questions now, you can send me an email later if nothing comes to mind at the moment. Good. Oh, sorry, yeah. Yeah. Well, I have to say that this is a topic I feel very uncomfortable with. Personally, I can only say personally, I think with the modding, as I'm very much thinking about the modding as being a very open platform, everybody can join. I think it is extremely good that we have modding which is free. I feel that if we actually want to monetize modding, it needs to be done extremely smartly. And what I feel being the biggest challenge is that it gives us devs extremely difficult position, because we have to make sure that our modding tools are then extremely robust. Everything needs to work on all the platforms. Then there's no excuse for us say that it's just modding. It's a mod, it doesn't work. So I feel I'm a little bit hesitant taking that responsibility, but we'll see where it goes. Good. Thanks.